It's your favorite super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor, people's supervisor. Yes, I'm still gonna coin my name.
PM Friday, Tiffany Henyard, the former Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, walked into circuit court.
Tiffany, do you have any thoughts about being in court today, being ordered to come to court?
We don't have any comment right now.
Love on those that loving on you back, and pay attention to the people in your camp, because I had a ton of Judases in my camp. I kid you not.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I'm sure you all remember this face.
Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves. Getting up at press conference, talking about nothing. Learn the laws. I tell y'all that all the time. Learn from me. But because I'm younger than all y'all think y'all can't learn from me, huh?
We've talked extensively about the ex-super mayor Tiffany Henyard on this channel, and just when you think the saga is finally over, she surprises us with yet another twist, as if straight out of the corruption cinematic universe. This time, she showed up in court, refused to speak, and once again pleaded the fifth. Clearly, this wasn't a one-time stunt. It's the classic way of stalling while under intense scrutiny. So here we are. Welcome to Chapter 97 of How Not to Be a Public Servant. The scene unfolds with Tiffany Henyard, the former mayor and part-time township overlord, being dragged into court yesterday. Why? Because when watchdog groups requested public records, essentially asking where the money went, she completely ghosted them like a bad Tinder date. A public interest group called Agar County Watchdogs, whom we've mentioned many times before when discussing the controversies surrounding the supermayor, filed a lawsuit against the village of Elton. Their claim that her administration blatantly ignored the most basic freedom of information requests.
Henyard's appearance in court was pretty quick and easy. She was ordered to come to court, in person after being found in contempt for not following state transparency laws and submitting records during her time in office. Now, as you mentioned, instead of testifying today, her attorney pled the fifth on the former mayor's behalf.
Court documents say Henyard refused to respond to emails from last fall from Dalton Council requesting records in response to the FOIA request.
The watchdogs were looking for something pretty simple, which were some credit card
requests. Those are absolutely crucial, especially when dealing with any level of government, particularly local government. You have the right to ask for certain documents, and they are obligated to provide them. Ignoring FOIA requests isn't an option. So this group simply wanted some basic stuff: receipts, credit card statements, meeting documents, the usual routine. But instead of handing over those files, Henyard and her team basically gave the judge the legal equivalent of new phone. Who's this? The judge had to order Tiffany to show up in person because she was already held in contempt for ignoring state transparency laws. Her lawyer basically claimed she couldn't remember what document was being referred to, saying things were just too chaotic back then. And honestly, a lot of that chaos was caused by her own behavior. Now, I'm no lawyer, but at this point, it seems like she's got some serious issues and probably needs to just stay quiet. But here's the thing, if she truly doesn't have the documents, then why plead the fifth?
As Dalton mayor and Thornton Township supervisor, Brinley advised her to plead the fifth.
I think that's what anybody that's smart and reasonable and has a lawyer is going to do under these circumstances. She's not a public figure anymore. She's not in office, and she has every right to exercise her rights under the Constitution to protect herself.
But we all know exactly what pleading the fifth means. It's something you do when answering a question could incriminate you, not when you simply misplace a receipt or claim. You have no idea what document you're holding. So if there's truly nothing there, then what exactly are you trying to protect? I think we all have a pretty good idea of what she's doing. Tiffany has caused so much nonsense, there's been a massive commingling of funds, and she doesn't want to say anything out loud because it will probably come back to bite her later. So she chooses to stay silent. But here's the wild part. This isn't a murder trial. We're talking about emails and credit card charges. If you're innocent and genuinely unaware, you could say that under oath, but by pleading the fifth, it's like saying, I don't know, and I'd rather not explain. That just makes people more suspicious. Now everyone's asking, what's so bad in those records? Why not just hand them over? Why stall? Why plead? Why hide if it's just a misunderstanding? Oh, but what if it's not just a misunderstanding? What if it's deliberate? Maybe it's not that she forgot. Maybe she remembers perfectly well, and saying it aloud could open a legal can of worms. She's not avoiding chaos. She's avoiding consequences. Think about it. It's just a credit card bill, not area. 51. But speaking of chaos, her entire time in office was like an episode of Parks and Recreation. If it were written by Quentin Tarantino, she'd wave around papers at board meetings, claiming some programs were canceled but never show the actual documents. So the court said, "All right, show us the proof." And she said, "Nope." And it just keeps getting worse for her. While that hearing was going on, a judge casually mentioned another lawsuit. There are so many lawsuits now, I honestly can't keep up. You could probably build an entire YouTube channel just covering Tiffany Henyard's legal battles. This particular lawsuit isn't just against Henyard. It includes the village, the fire, and police commissions, and even some other officials. Tiffany claims she didn't even know about this one. She might not. With that many lawsuits, who could keep track? But that's just how she operates. Now, her defense isn't just legal, it's spiritual. She's ghosting accountability at every level. Let's call it what it is, a stall tactic. A legal pause button on a video she desperately doesn't want to finish. And with the FBI reportedly investigating her alleged misuse of public funds and retaliation against political opponents. Pleading the Fifth isn't just a strategy. It might be the only move left for the ex-supermayor. This isn't just someone dodging embarrassment. This is someone sitting on a pyramid of bad decisions, praying the whole house of cards doesn't collapse. So what happened after the hearing? That part is even more revealing than the courtroom drama itself. Tiffany Henyard went back on Facebook Live, and it had been months since she'd done that, basically since losing the election. She popped on like she'd just walked off a red carpet, not out of a courtroom for public corruption and legal stonewalling. Instead of answering questions, trying to be transparent, or explaining why she was even in court in the first place, or why she ignored the Freedom of Information requests, she launched into a long, rambling gratitude session. Thanking God, thanking her supporters, talking about keeping her angels around her and staying protected at all costs. She warned about haters and people praying against what you're trying to manifest, preaching about speaking things into existence so it can prevail. She urged everyone to stay positive because life's too short and to love the people who love you back. She talked about having a ton of Judas in my camp and repeated her thanks for those still standing by her then. She teased a book tour, sounding more like a reality show promo than someone facing contempt of court over public corruption. She claimed the day was amazing and called it a success. I honestly don't know what world she's living in. That live was dripping with delusion. And the way she kept talking about haters, it's like no one really cares that. She was the first suit mayor. What people are angry about is the blatant disregard for transparency laws. Like expired coupons nobody wants to honor. She keeps saying she's being targeted for her greatness, not for her shady governance, or the way she handled being mayor and supervisor. A lot of this mess is on her. She talked about her child, her father, and of course, her upcoming book, but not once did she explain why she had to plead the Fifth or why those FOIA requests keep disappearing into thin air. Now, about that book. I find it pretty interesting that Keith Freeman said Tiffany Hen didn't even do emails. So, are we really supposed to believe she's going to write a book? What exactly will be in this memoir? Will there be a chapter on how she allegedly ghosted transparency laws? Maybe a section about ignoring public records requests, like their spam emails? If she can't even speak under oath in court, what exactly will she spill in a book that's sold on Amazon? We're supposed to believe she's suddenly ready to tell her side of the story, not to a judge, not to investigators, and definitely not under penalty of perjury. In my opinion, this isn't about transparency. It's about PR. It's a calculated move to rewrite the narrative before the legal. Reality comes crashing down. Remember, during her campaign, everyone was waiting for those receipts. She said she had all this information to prove she wasn't involved or not as guilty as people thought, and it never showed up. No receipts from the podcasts, no proof in YouTube videos, and even when she's on Facebook Live, she had countless chances to say something, show something, and it never happened. Will this book explain the missing documents? The claims that she retaliated against people she didn't like? The sweetheart contracts she handed out? Or will it just be another round of, "They hate me because I was the first," with a motivational quote slapped on every page? You can't claim to be silenced while live streaming your every thought. And you definitely can't promise to tell it all in a book while hiding behind the Fifth in court. One of those is a performance, and I think we all know which one it is. The truth is, this book probably won't be about honesty, it's about control. It's an attempt to shape public perception while the legal system keeps her under a microscope. Now, if she actually writes that book, of course, I'll read it. Most of you probably won't, and that's fine. I'm sure she'll get a ghostwriter or something, but I'll be adding it to my summer reading list if it ever actually comes out. And judging by the lawsuits, investigations, and public outrage, this chapter is far from over. That Facebook Live, damage control disguised as motivation. I also think she was pretty hyped. She didn't go to jail, lots of people thought she would. That live was basically the political version of yelling, "I'm unbothered while your house is on fire." If Tiffany Hen had nothing to hide, she'd go live with the receipts, not rehearse thank you speeches. This isn't a spiritual attack, it's legal accountability. No matter how many inspirational quotes or Instagram filters she slaps on, the subpoenas keep coming. She even got permission to submit an affidavit, saying she doesn't have the records a written way of saying, "Nah, I don't got it." The judge let her slide for now, but the people of Dolan already voted her out. And that's the only accountability they can control. Everything else is in the courts. And the clock is ticking. And let's not forget the whispers and rumors about improper Vina contracts, sweetheart deals for connected friends, and public funds being used irresponsibly. Some of these are quietly under investigation, and that's not even counting what the FBI might slap on her if they dig deep enough. So obviously, this isn't just one big lawsuit, it's a whole collection of them. Each case peels back the curtain on how deep the mismanagement and corruption really go. With every new affidavit, subpoena, or leaked email, the picture just gets uglier. We'll see how this all plays out. Are you interested in Tiffany Hen's ex-supermayor memoir? I know I am, and I'll be buying it if she ever finishes it, which she might not. What do you guys think about this whole story? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you in the next one.